Good morning. Yesterday, I recited the long healing prayer for myself and for a couple of my friends, and one of my friends that I recited it for was Charles Neville. And I discovered last night that he had died the previous day. So I'm going to say a couple prayers for the departed. Oh my God, O thou forgiver of sins, bestower of gifts, dispeller of affliction, verily, I beseech thee to forgive the sins of such as have abandoned the physical garment and have ascended to the spiritual world. O my Lord, purify them from trespasses, dispel their sorrows, and change their darkness into light. Cause them to enter the garden of happiness. Cleanse them with the most pure water and grant them to behold thy splendors on the loftiest mount. He is God. Exalted is He, the Lord of loving kindness and bounty. Glory be unto thee, thou, O my God, the Lord omnipotent. I testify to thine omnipotence and thy might, thy sovereignty and thy loving kindness, thy grace and thy power, the oneness of thy being and the unity of thine essence, thy sanctity and exaltation above the world of being and all that is therein. O my God, thou seest me detached from all save thee, holding fast unto thee, and turning unto the ocean of thy bounty, to the heaven of thy favor, to the day star of thy grace. Lord, I bear witness that in thy servant thou hast reposed thy trust, and that is the Spirit wherewith thou hast given life to the world. I ask of thee, by the splendor of the orb of thy revelation, mercifully to accept from him that which he hath achieved in thy days. Grant then that he may be invested with the glory of thy good pleasure and adorned with thine acceptance. O my Lord, I myself and all created things bear witness unto thy might. And I pray thee not to turn away from thyself this Spirit that hath ascended unto thee, unto thy heavenly place, thine exalted paradise, and thy retreats of nearness. O thou who art the Lord of all men, grant then, O my God, that thy servant may consort with thy chosen ones, thy saints, and thy messengers, in heavenly places that the pen cannot tell, nor the tongue recount. O my Lord, the poor one hath verily hastened unto the kingdom of thy wealth, the stranger unto his home within thy precincts. He that is sore athirst to the heavenly river of thy bounty. Deprive him not, O Lord, from his share of the banquet of thy grace, and from the favor of thy bounty. Thou art in truth the Almighty, the gracious, the all-bountiful. O my God, thy trust hath been returned unto thee. It behoveth thy grace and thy bounty that have compassed thy dominions on earth and in heaven to vouchsafe unto thy newly welcomed one thy gifts and thy bestowals, and the fruits of the tree of thy grace. Powerful art thou to do as thou willest. There is none other God but thee, the gracious, the most bountiful, the compassionate, the bestower, the pardoner, the precious, the all-knowing. I testify, O my Lord, that thou hast enjoined upon men to honor their guest. And he that hath ascended unto thee hath verily reached thee and attained thy presence. Deal with him then according to thy grace and bounty. By thy glory, I know of a certainty that thou wilt not withhold thyself from that which thou hast commanded thy servants, nor wilt thou deprive him that hath clung to the cord of thy bounty and hath ascended to the day spring of thy wealth. There is none other God but thee, the one, the single, the powerful, the omniscient, the bountiful. Bahá'u'lláh. So I'm going to do something that I don't usually do. I'm going to talk about my friend, Charles Neville, who died 2 days ago. I met Charles probably in 2011, is what I'm guessing. It was at a jazz jam in Brattleboro, and I sang a song I had written called Tree of Peace, and Charles played on it because he lived in our area in Goshen. And afterwards, he asked me if I had recorded it, and I said no. And he said, well, when you get ready to record it, if you like, I'll play on it. But only that one song. So later on, I invited him to hear my other songs, and he did. And he said they're great songs. I'll play on all of them. So Charles Neville, the saxophone player of the Neville Brothers, is on my CD called Open the Door to Your Heart, which is distributed by all the major distributors. And when we were recording, and then I asked him, well, I can't pay you what you probably get. And he said, it's okay, pay me whatever you want. He said, you're trying to start something. And I said, yes. So when we were in the recording studio, my drummer is Billy Arnold, who's all the jazz musicians know Billy in this area. He lives in Springfield, and he's a marvelous drummer. He currently plays with the Young at Heart Choir, which is a choir of people over 73 who travel all over the world singing rock songs. And he's very much in demand. He's extremely busy. And he also offered to play, and he didn't care what I paid him either. He just loves to play. And David Wertman, who was the bass player, is also recently deceased. I think he died in 2015. And then there was Miro Sprague on keys. Miro is a young man who won the 2012 Thelonious Monk Institute Award, where he was picked. 7 people were picked out of probably hundreds, if not thousands, of applicants from all over the world, and sent to UCLA for 2 years to study with Herbie Hancock and Wayne Shorter, and then was sent on a world tour. That's the piano player. So I had these 4 amazing musicians. And during the breaks, Charles and Billy would talk about, the old days and what it was like to be black in the South as musicians. And it was fascinating. But Charles and Billy, they were very quiet during the recordings. They rarely offered any advice, or they were just really quiet. They were really humble. And they were lovely. They were so lovely to work with. They were so kind. They were so supportive. They were so compassionate. And, I was a little bit awed by the fact that Charles Neville was playing, and Billy too. I was awed by these musicians. So it took me a while before I felt comfortable reaching out to Charles as a friend the way I wanted to, because I was so taken with his humility and his vast experience and the richness of what he had been through and what he knew, that I always was, wanted to reach out to him. And then last year in November, I had decided to record another CD of another 10 songs that I had written. And Charles was supposed to play on it, but he got sick. And before the recording session, he called me and he said that he was in the hospital and he wasn't going to be able to play. So we left spots in the recording for him to come back and overdub. And I started calling him because I wanted to visit him and I wanted to pray with him and I wanted to bring him some books. But he was too ill at the time, and then it was hard to get in touch with him for a while. And then I did get in touch with him before I left for my trip to Arizona. And I was thinking about him and planning to get back in touch when I got back, and I did. And but it took a little while for me to, I'm still not unpacked from that trip. So a couple of days ago, I finally called him. And I couldn't get through because the messages were full. And then yesterday I said the long healing prayer for him here. And then last night, I found out that he had died the day that I called him. So I'm very rarely sad when someone dies because I know it's kind of like the baby dying to the womb, It's like, oh, I want to stay in here. But that's because you don't know what's waiting for you. So I'm very rarely sad, but I'm very sad about Charles' death. And I think it's because I was so looking forward to getting to know him better and, spending time with him and praying for him. And so I was really disappointed. And I have to say that I can't even begin to realize what he did for me by offering to play on that album. I think I'm only now just beginning to realize how many doors that has the potential to open for me. It took me several years to get over the shock. But now I kind of realize, he's really opened some doors for me. And I'm extremely grateful to him. So I just wanted to share that. And I'm probably going to write something also. So let's see. I'm going to say a prayer now. This is a prayer. We all have people in our lives that are difficult to deal with. And those people are great gifts to us because they push our edges. They force us, those of us who say that we believe in love, they force us to go beyond our limitations because sometimes it's really hard to find that love for people who make you angry. So there's a prayer revealed by Bahá'u'lláh that I like to say. And I tend to include myself in this prayer because I figure they may be difficult for me, but I'm probably difficult for them too. So here's the prayer. And I think it's from Epistle to the Son of the Wolf, for those of you who want to know that. Oh, now I can't remember it. That's what happens to me when I get on the spot. We pray to God to graciously assist them that have been led astray, to be just and fair-minded, and to make them aware of that where they have been heedless. He, in truth, is the all-bounteous, the most generous. Debar not thy servants, O my Lord, from the door of thy grace, and drive them not away from the court of thy presence. Assist them to dispel the mists of idle fancies and to tear away the veils of vain imaginings and hopes. Thou in truth art the all-possessing, the Most High. No God is there but thee, the Almighty, the gracious. Bahá'u'lláh. And a prayer for healing. This is for myself, for my dear friend Sarah Catazzoni, for my daughter Kalila, and my son Gabriel, and for everyone of you and your loved ones who needs healing, which is primarily spiritual healing, some of which is manifests through our bodies. Thy name is my healing, O my God, and remembrance of thee is my remedy. Nearness to thee is my hope. And love for thee is my companion. Thy mercy to me is my healing and my succor in both this world and in the world to come. Thou verily art the all-bountiful, the all-knowing, the all-wise. Now, the next prayer that I want to say is a pretty remarkable prayer, because in it there's a guarantee from Bahá'u'lláh for deliverance, which is pretty astounding. It's worth knowing this prayer, so I am trying to memorize it. We'll see how well I do. I'm trying to remember where it is. It's oh yeah, I don't have that book up here anymore. I'll try to. It's from the tablet of the 7 questions, and that is. Oh, I can't remember the name of the book. Anyway, here goes. If thou desirest to be freed from affliction, recite thou this prayer, which hath been revealed by the pen of the All-Merciful. O God, my God, I testify to thy unity and thy oneness. I beseech thee, O thou possessor of names and fashioner of the heavens, by the pervasive influence of thy most exalted word, and the potency of thy sublime pen, to assist me with the cohorts of thine angels, and to protect me from the mischief of thine enemies, who have violated thy covenant and thy testament. Thou art verily the Almighty, the most powerful. This prayer is an inviolable refuge and an impregnable stronghold. It conferreth protection and ensureth deliverance. Bahá'u'lláh. I think I'll say the tablet for the northeastern states. O thou kind Lord, praise be unto thee that thou hast shown us the highway of guidance, opened the doors of the kingdom, and manifested thyself through the Sun of reality. To the blind, thou hast given sight. To the deaf, thou hast granted hearing. Thou hast resuscitated the dead. Thou hast enriched the poor. Thou hast shown the way to those who have gone astray. Thou hast led those with parched lips to the fountain of guidance. Thou hast suffered the thirsty fish to reach the ocean of reality. And thou hast invited the wandering birds to the rose garden of grace. O thou Almighty, we are thy servants and thy poor ones. We are remote and yearn for thy presence. Our thirst for the water of thy fountain. Our ill longing for thy healing. We are walking in thy path and have no aim or hope. save the diffusion of thy fragrance. So that all souls may raise the cry of, O God, guide us to the straight path. May their eyes be opened to behold the light. May they be freed from the darkness of ignorance. May they gather around the lamp of thy guidance. May every portionless one receive a share. May the deprived become the confidants of thy mysteries. O Almighty, look upon us with a glance of mercifulness. Grant us heavenly confirmation. Bestow upon us the breath of the Holy Spirit, so that we may be assisted in thy service, and like unto brilliant stars, shine in these regions with the light of thy guidance. Verily, thou art the powerful, the mighty, the wise, and the seeing. Abdu'l-Baha. So now I'm going to recite the tablet of Ahmad. So this is a special tablet, and when I'm really in need of guidance or special help, I recite this tablet. And right now I have to make a decision because Charles is gone. And there are some tracks on my CD waiting to be filled in. I have to decide what musicians I'm going to ask to record these parts. So, and I'm particularly interested in one particular musician whose playing really moves me, but whose character disturbs me. So I need to pray about that. So I'm going to recite the Tablet of Ahmad for guidance in moving forward with this third recording project. He is the King, the all-knowing, the wise. Lo, the nightingale of paradise singeth upon the twigs of the tree of eternity. With holy and sweet melodies. proclaiming to the sincere ones the glad tidings of the nearness of God. Calling the believers in the divine unity to the court of the presence of the generous one. Informing the severed ones of the message which hath been revealed by God the King, the glorious, the peerless. Guiding the lovers to the seat of sanctity, and to this resplendent beauty. Verily, this is that most great beauty foretold in the books of the messengers, through whom truth shall be distinguished from error. And the wisdom of every command shall be tested. Verily, he is the tree of life that bringeth forth the fruits of God, the exalted, the powerful, the great. O Ahmad, bear thou witness that verily he is God, and there is no God but him, the King, the Protector, the Incomparable, the Omnipotent. And that the one whom he hath sent forth by the name of Ali was the true one from God, the exalted, the great. Verily, he is the King of the messengers, and his book is the mother book. Did ye but know? Thus doth the nightingale utter his call unto you from this prison. He hath but to deliver this clear message. Whosoever desireth, let him turn aside from this counsel. And whosoever desireth, let him choose the path to his Lord. O people, if ye deny these verses, by what proof have ye believed in God? Produce it, O assemblage of false ones. Nay, by the one in whose hand is my soul, they are not and never shall be able to do this, even should they combine to assist one another. O Ahmad, forget not my bounties while I am absent. Remember my days during thy days. and my distress and banishment in this remote prison. And be thou so steadfast in my love that thy heart shall not waver. Even if the swords of the enemies rain blows upon thee, and all the heavens and the earth arise against thee. Be thou as a flame of fire to mine enemies, and a river of life eternal to my loved ones. I mean, not of those who doubt. And if thou art overtaken by affliction in my path, or degradation for my sake, be not thou troubled thereby. Rely upon God, thy God, and the Lord of thy fathers, for the people are wandering in the paths of delusion, bereft of discernment to see God with their own eyes, or hear his melody with their own ears. Thus have we found them, as thou also dost witness. Thus have their superstitions become veils. Between them and their own hearts, and kept them from the path of God, the exalted, the great. Be thou assured in thyself that verily he who turns away from this beauty hath also turned away from the messengers of the past, and showeth pride towards God from all eternity to all eternity. Learn well this tablet, O Atma. Chant it during thy days. Withhold not thyself therefrom. For verily God hath ordained for the one who chants it the reward of 100 martyrs and a service in both worlds. These favors have we bestowed upon thee as a bounty on our part and a mercy from our presence, that thou mayest be of those who are grateful. By God, should one who is in affliction or grief read this tablet with absolute sincerity, God will dispel his sadness, solve his difficulties, and remove his afflictions. Verily, he is the merciful, the compassionate. Praise be to God, Lord of all. I'm going to stop there for a little while, and I will come back in a little while and do the readings.